Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about the bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is an organization characterized by hierarchical structure, worker specialization, explicit rules, and advancement by merit. Next we're going to be talking about the hierarchy. Each department is led by a secretary, except for the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice is led by the Attorney General, but don't confuse the Attorney General with the Solicitor General, who's the actual attorney who represents the United States in Supreme Court cases. Another characteristic of the bureaucracy is job specialization. Job specialization is whenever people work in one area and become proficient in one field of study. Now, the bureaucracy has some formal rules, also known as the standard operating procedure. The standard operating procedure will state how the tasks are supposed to be performed. Thankfully, the hierarchy will provide a non-democratic method of performing these, as you only answer to the person who's above you. You don't really get to argue with it. Now, you might want to get hired to the bureaucracy. How do you do that? Well, there's two systems that have been used to be hired into bureaucracy. You have the spoils system and the merit system. The spoils system is the old-timey one, where it's based on how well you know people. It's like, do you know someone up there in it? If you do, then heck, you're hired. Now, in the merit system, however, you gotta be actually good at what you do. So, if you weren't good, then sorry, you're out of luck. So, in 1983, the Pendleton Act was passed by Congress and established the merit system as the way to hire people into the bureaucracy, making sure that people were hired based upon how well they did at their job instead of how well they knew the people up there. Now we're going to talk about the organization of the bureaucracy. We're going to start with the cabinet. The cabinet is a group of all the heads of the departments that advise the president. Now for the next part of the organization of the bureaucracy is the independent executive agencies. The independent executive agencies are government agencies that exist outside of the federal executive departments, also known as those headed by the cabinet secretaries, and the executive office of the president. One example would be the CIA. Independent regulatory agencies are meant to impose and enforce regulations free of political influence. For example, the FBI. The last portion of the organization of the bureaucracy is the government corporations. Government corporations are a legal entity that undertakes commercial activities on behalf of the owner government. The next part of the bureaucracy is the executive office of the president. One part of the executive office is the White House staff. The White House staff are all personnel who run the White House and advise the president. These people include the chief of staff and the press secretary. The next sector of the executive branch is the Office of Management and Budget, also known as the OMB. The OMB assists the president in preparing the annual budget. Also, it clears and coordinates all department agency budgets. It helps set fiscal policy and to supervise the administration of the federal budget. The final portion of the executive office of the president is the National Security Council, also known as the NSC. The NSC coordinates the president's foreign and military advisors. The formal members are the President, Vice President, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, and all of this is managed by the President's National Security Assistant. The last thing we're going to talk about today are the limits on the bureaucracy. First, we're going to start with the President. The President limits the bureaucracy by appointing leadership, or all the heads of those departments of the agencies that are in the bureaucracy. Another way the President limits the bureaucracy is through executive orders. Executive orders are rules or orders issued by a president to an executive branch that has the force of law. The second way that the bureaucracy is limited is through congressional oversight. Congressional oversight, of course, is used by Congress. They can use the congressional oversight in order to approve appointments that the president has made. Also, it can be used to hold investigations and hearings over the agencies and what they're doing, as well as creating a budget for the agencies and rewriting legislation that will be relevant for those agencies. That's all I got for today on the bureaucracy, guys. Thanks for watching.